In Peru, the National Police entered the campus of the San Marcos University to evict students and provincial delegations gathered in the area as part of the anti-government protest. In Spain, demonstrators rallied in Madrid's Plaza Cibeles to protest against the government of Pedro Sanchez. And Lebanon experiencing a new day of protest following the increase in the exchange rate of its local currency and its inflationary effects. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Peru, the National Police entered the campus of the San Marcos University to evict students and provincial delegations gathered in the area as part of the anti-government protests. Police officers entered with violence and subdued the students and social leaders who had organized the university campus to host the caravans of indigenous communities that arrived in the capital for the massive protests against the Peruvian government. According to reports from some of the demonstrators, the police detained several of them. However, an exact number is not known. San Marcos University was taken over by students with the permission of the university authorities on January 17th, in solidarity with the people who have been protesting against the government and the Congress of the Republic. And as we have said, the Peruvian National Police entered this Saturday the National University of San Marcos in Lima, where Peruvians from different regions who came to Lima to demonstrate against Dina Boluarte's government were staying. The police entered with violence and subdued the students and social leaders who had organized for the university campus to house the caravans of indigenous communities that came to the capital for the massive protests against the Peruvian government. According to complaints posted on social media, security forces have also arrested several people, throwing them to the ground and stealing donations and their belongings. A person staying in the student residence of the San Marcos University points out that there is no prosecutor during the violent operation of the eviction of protesters on campus, where they were staying with the permission of the university authorities. It should be noted that the San Marcos University was taken over by students on January 17th in solidarity with the people who have been protesting against the government and the Congress of the country. In the case of the National Engineering University, the University Council agreed to welcome students from the south of the country. The first students to arrive were from the National University of San Antonio Abad of Cusco. Since Wednesday, hundreds of people from Puno, Arequipa, and Cusco, among other parts of the country, began to arrive at this university, coming to the Peruvian capital, to participate in the large rallies called to demand the resignation of President Dina Boluarte, the closure of Congress, the convening of a constituent assembly, and early elections. After the entry of the agents, police with riot gear gathered at the gates of the campus to cordon off the area. On Friday, Bolivian President Luis Arce called on the country's social organizations to be on alert against a possible coup attempt. He made the statement at the opening session of the new board of directors of the Mixed Miners Union of Huanuni, west of the country. President Arce recalled the events of 2019, which toppled then President Evo Morales. Arce said this time they will not be taken by surprise. Arce's warning comes a few days prior to the so-called national meeting, summoned by extreme right-wing organizations whose leaders, for the most part, were involved in the 2019 coup against Morales, which left more than 30 people dead, over 500 wounded, and 1,800 detained and tortured. Let's take a short break, but first remember you can follow us on TikTok at the account at teleSUR English, and we should be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In Spain, people demonstrate at the Cibeles Square in Madrid against the government of Pedro Sanchez and in defense of the Constitution. People were rallied by several social organizations like Spain's Civic Forum, the Freedom and Alternative Foundation, all with the support of the Popular Party, or PP. and other political organizations. Demonstrators accuse Sanchez of being a liar or a traitor and for acting against democracy. People have also voiced their rejection of the government's policies, like amendments to the penal code regarding crimes of sedition and embezzlement, for instance.
Democratic regimes can mutate without military uprisings into collectivist populism in which the essence of liberal democracy is dismantled. Regimes in which the separation of powers, the rule of law, fundamental rights or freedom of enterprise become mere caricatures. Pedro Sanchez is manipulating the justice. Justice isn't going to be independent anymore. The Constitutional Court isn't going to be independent anymore, and he's taking over all the institutions. And this isn't good for Spain, nor democracy, nor anybody, and especially not for the future of our children and grandchildren.
A dozen youth organizations marched through Paris on Saturday to show their anger over the government's pension reform. Actively supported by far-left party France Unbowed Party, they were hoping to capitalize on the success of the massive inter-union march on strike on Thursday. Unbowed leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon congratulated the demonstrators on his Twitter page, saying that over 150,000 people turned out. The turnout was also praised by the Colin Champion, president of the La Bois Lycéen Union, while Alternative, another student union, welcomed a very massive youth turnout. More determined than ever to keep the pressure on the government, the unions announced a new day of protest scheduled for January 31st.
I am a postman on a bicycle. Even if we have electric bicycles with electric assistance, I can't see myself cycling until I am 67. And on top of that, there are structural reforms all the time, plus this tension reform, which already cuts my legs off. So to pedal with my legs off, it's not ideal.
Surprise! When refiners stop working, there is no more fuel, because when a railway worker stops working, there are no more trains. And it's the same for tramway workers, and it's the same with the national education system. There are no more schools. And do you see the impact today? Do you see the demonstration we are making today? Without us, society doesn't function. Everything stops.
Stockholm is seeing a surge in serious crime, including shootings and bombings, with the city's police interim chief Matthias Andersson announcing that a special crisis group will be deployed to try to end the violence. Police records show that 4 shootings and 3 bombings occurred in the Swedish capital this week, with a total of 21 such incidents and 2 deaths since December 25, 2022. The violence is attributed to clashes between rival gang members, many of them young teens, with disputes over the drugs market or personal vendettas. Authorities have struggled for years to contain escalated violence across Sweden, with gangs recruiting ever younger teens to carry out their activities, since they risk shorter sentences if caught.
Our main priority in the Stockholm region is to break this cycle of violence. There's nothing more important than that right now. So, to bring an end to this, we have decided to establish a special organization to handle this entire conflict situation and to immediately and as quickly as possible bring an end to it.
And we have more news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back from the south. In Lebanon, a new day of protest is taking place in response to the increase in the local currency exchange rate and its inflationary consequences. This Saturday, demonstrators blocked the country's main highways and roads to demand a solution to the economic crisis. Citizens denounced the increase in fuel prices, the decrease in purchasing power in the country, the deterioration of its economic situation, and the increase in the nation's cost of living. Demonstrations started after the exchange rate of the dollar in the country's informal market exceeded 50,000 Lebanese pounds. According to the United Nations, over 2 million people in Lebanon currently require urgent economic assistance as a result of monetary depreciation that prevents families from accessing food and basic necessities. In Sudan, security forces confronted protesters who tried to enter parliament using tear gas and water hoses. The focus of the protest is the rejection of the agreement reached last December between the Sudanese coup plotters and the main pro-democracy group to establish a civilian-led transitional government after the military takeover in 2021. The Resistance Committee is a group that has spoken out against negotiations with the military, were at the forefront of protests while calling for the top military leaders, Generals Abdel Fattah Burhan and Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, to be brought to court. They also said that demonstrations would continue in the coming days. In the Republic of Congo, the vocational training center of the Catholic city of Don Bosco was affected by landslides caused by torrential rains. The center, which has been in operation for 30 years as the largest training school for skilled workers north of the capital Brazzaville, is threatened by constant landslides caused by the torrential rains that fall continuously on the Congolese capital. Local authorities warned that the building's infrastructure was seriously damaged after the collapse of several of its walls. The Weather Service informed that landslides will continue because the rains are not about to stop in Brazzaville. Not only is the school in danger, but the neighboring plots as well. The Don Bosco Center is focused on electricity, construction, and other disciplines. At least 145 passengers are reportedly missing after a motorized boat overloaded with goods and animals sank overnight in a river in northwestern Democratic of the Congo. Authorities said the boat was heading for neighboring Republic of Congo when it capsized on the Lulonga River on Tuesday night near the town of Basankusu. Shipwrecks causing dozens of deaths are all too common in remote areas of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where travel by road is sometimes impossible. Many boats are overloaded with goods and people who cannot swim. Rescue operations are extremely limited in remote parts of the country. In October, more than 40 people died on the Congo River in Equator province in similar circumstances. Somalia's government and Al-Qaeda-linked fighters both claim more than 100 people were killed Friday in their deadliest battle since the government launched a major military offensive against the extremists in August. The government said 7 soldiers, including an officer from the elite U.S.-trained Danab Brigade, were killed in the intense attack, but asserted that the military remained in control of the base. Neither side's claim could be independently verified, but a Galgal resident told reporters that there was heavy gunfire exchanged. Somalia's government declared total war against the extremist group Al-Shabaab last year. The group has thousands of fighters and has long held parts of central and southern Somalia. The government claims it has retaken many communities during what has been described as the most significant offensive in more than a decade. Gabon's foreign minister Michael Moussa Adamo died on Friday after suffering a heart attack during a cabinet meeting. According to a government's brief statement, Moussa Adamo, 62, an ally of President Ali Bongo Ondimba, suffered a heart attack and died despite efforts by specialists to resuscitate him. A source close to the presidential palace said that Adamo had sat down at the start of the cabinet meeting and began to feel unwell. He was taken to a military hospital while unconscious but died just after midday. Reacting to his death, President Bongo described Moussa Adamo as a great diplomat and a true statesman, adding that his parting is a huge loss for Gabon. We've come to the end of this news briefing. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.